Hey everyone, it's Eric Chabot here, and I am the director of two student apologetic ministries. One is at The Ohio State University here in Columbus, Ohio, and the other one is at Columbus State Community College. I blog at thinkapologetics.com. Some of you, of course, follow my blog and you watch some of our YouTube clips because I put some clips up from weekly apologetic meetings and other things that we do on campus. So anyways, I thought that I would take the time to talk about what I have learned from watching other apologists in action. When we plan our year at the university, I have to think about who to bring in. What apologists do I want to bring to the campus to speak? And I have had more than one apologist come to the campus over the years. I've had several, but in this clip, I'm going to mention four of them. I have watched these men speak. Of course, I've watched them interact with students. I've watched them take their material and present it in a public setting. I've watched some of them do debates. So I have watched them in action, and I've learned a lot by being around them and watching how they interact with students and how they present their material. So let me mention the first apologist, and that is Dr. Frank Turk, author or co-author of I Don't Have Faith to Be an Atheist. He's also written some other books. One of his newer books right now is called Hollywood Heroes, How Your Favorite Movies Reveal God. But I'm not going to be talking about this book right here. But Dr. Turk has spoken on this book several times on our campus. I think we've had him here at least 7 or 8 times. But anyways, I met Dr. Turk back in the early 2000s when he was just starting. And of course, I've had him back. And so I've seen his ministry grow over the years and his social media presence grow. But a few things I've observed with Dr. Turk, Frank Turk, and that is the fact that he is a clear communicator. And when he gets up to speak, he brings clarity. Now, having said that, I'm not saying you have to agree with these four apologists I mentioned. You may not agree with everything they say. You might not agree with all their positions. I'm not concerned about that right now. I'm concerned about the way they communicate and how they interact with the public. So I just want to say that back to Frank Turk that he is a clear communicator. And that means that when he gets up to speak, there's no doubt about what he's saying as far as like not being able to understand him. He's gifted in the area of speaking. He did a lot of public speaking before he started to do this, his apologetic speaking. He's also very funny. He's able to tell a lot of jokes, weave a lot of humor into his presentations. He's also able to keep the audience, captive. He's able to keep them focused for over an hour and a half, and that's a long time to do a talk in this day and age. So he is a very clear communicator. He's also very patient. I've watched him interact with many students at the question and answer time, and some of the questions, quite frankly, just don't make any sense sometimes. But Dr. Turk is able to take students' questions and help them to think through what they're actually asking. He tries to get them to clarify what they're really saying. Now, he's not trying to avoid the question. It's just he's trying to get them to bring clarity so he can help the audience follow what they're saying as well. He's very generous. Meaning that he's always willing to give free materials to students, give away his books. He wants people to have the materials. He's not, there just to sell a bunch of books and sell himself. He really wants the material to get into the hands of the audience. And overall, he is really one of the most popular speakers we've had on the campus. Now, certainly Dr. Turk probably does more presentations than he does debates. He's done some debates, of course. You can watch him online, but he does a lot more regular presentations on college campuses. He doesn't teach at a university regularly. He doesn't teach at a seminary like some of the other names I'll mention here. So the biggest thing I see from him is clear communication. It's just, he's a very gifted communicator. Now, having said that, I'm not saying there's no overlap between what I say about one apologist and another apologist. Some of them all have the same features, but I just want to mention some of those things about Dr. Turk. Second person I want to mention is James Warner Wallace, author of Cold Case Christianity and God's Crime Scene, and now his new book, Person of Interest. We have had James Warner Wallace to the college campus a couple times. James Warner Wallace is a very gifted person. And what I mean by that is not only does he have a background being a cold case detective, he was also an architect. He also was able to, I believe, do what else did he do? Oh, he was an atheist for a while before he even became a Christian. So he certainly knew what it was like to think as an atheist. But if you ever look at his books and his presentations, he has the most amazing slides because he's able to do illustrations. And the way he does those illustrations adds so much to his presentations. Now, I obviously don't think many of us can do what he does because his architecture skill, because he has a training in architecture, he's able to do these amazing slides and these amazing illustrations in his books. If you read any of his books, the pictures and illustrations are in there as well. But one of the things he's also done very effectively is communicate to the audience on how to define evidence. And that's very crucial these days because a lot of people do not know how to approach the existence of God. And that means that they don't know what the nature of evidence is, how to approach evidence. And James Warner Wallace is very, very good about explaining inferential reasoning. And that was used, of course, that's used in cold case detective searches because sometimes, of course, you're not there to see the crime and you have to put together a case. And a lot of the conclusions you come to are based on inferential reasoning. So he's very, very gifted in that area and able to communicate the difference between direct and circumstantial evidence and, what it's like to interview eyewitnesses and the role of eyewitness testimony. So his background is very unique and he brings a lot to the table, but he, of course, is an excellent communicator as well. And he's very good at interacting with people, has a lot of energy, very gifted man. All right. Thirdly, I want to mention my friend, Dr. Michael Lacone. Dr. Lacone is one of the foremost apologists on the resurrection of Jesus. He probably is, he and Gary Habermas. And he wrote his giant dissertation here, this giant book here. It's like 700, 800 pages. Masterpiece, by the way, great book. But I have had Dr. Lacone to the campus a couple times to lecture, and I've had him do a debate for us with another campus ministry. We had him come in and do a debate. Once again, Dr. Lacone is an excellent communicator. And one of the things I appreciate about Dr. Lacone is his honesty and transparency. And what I mean by that is he's willing to not overstate his case. Sometimes in apologetics, we overstate our case and we end up having to backtrack and we look really bad, meaning that we're just overstating our position when we really shouldn't do that. And Dr. Lacone knows what historical methodology is. He knows what we can know historically, what we can't know, and how much we can know. And he's willing to admit that, we don't have 100% certainty for Jesus's resurrection. It was in the past. And using historical methodology, of course, he used inferential reasoning again. It's something we didn't see directly. And I just appreciate his honesty and transparency. He's not afraid to admit his own doubts and how he's worked through them. But he definitely is able to, I think, communicate in a way that is non-threatening. He's honest, and not that the other apologists are not honest as well, but the point is that I really appreciate his approach to the resurrection. So he's another person I've learned a lot from, and he really does a good job on this topic. And then finally, let me mention Dr. William Lane Craig, one of the foremost living apologists today, one of the most influential apologists of the last 50 years. He was one of the first speakers I had on the college campus to lecture on evidence for God's existence. He also did a debate on campus with an atheist on the existence of God. And one thing I've learned from Dr. Craig watching him is his precision with philosophical terminology. He's able to use his philosophical skills and really bring clarity to his arguments and how he talks and presents them. I really appreciate that. He's also heard a lot of the same objections over and over and over. He's done so many debates, so many lectures, and he's still so very patient with people, patient with students. He's never put off by the same question like, oh, what caused God? If it was me, I've heard it so many times, I might say, oh gosh, this again. but he is able to show patience and grace to people, even though they keep asking the same questions. But Dr. Craig, of course, is a skilled debater. He's done many, many debates. And of course, he is knowledgeable in so many areas: cosmology, the resurrection, philosophy of science. But I really appreciate his precision in how to weave in philosophical terms and how he's able to articulate that in a public setting. So, having said that, I've learned from all these apologists. They're great examples. They all follow the Lord. They're all committed to helping people come to know the Lord. They all want to see barriers removed so people will understand the gospel. And it's really important that we, even if we disagree with some fellow apologists or something about their arguments we don't like or something we don't agree with, we need to hear them out and find common ground and not penalize them forever if you don't agree with something, unless it's, of course, heretical or something. But the point is that there's a lot to learn. So make sure you are taking notes from these four apologists. Of course, they have plenty of materials online. They continue to put out books. They still have a lot of work ahead of them they're doing. And hopefully you can learn from them and they will help you in sharpening your apologetic skills. Have a good day.